Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? So happy to be here with you. I think I'm the last speaker. I'm Therese Calvird, and you can find me at Lost in Paper, and I'm a card maker and a YouTuber, and I like to colour and all the things, stamp. Welcome, everyone. Now, if you've got any questions for me, just leave them in the comments and they'll get popped up and I'll answer as many as I can while I'm here. How's everyone been going? They enjoyed the summit so far? It's been amazing. I've got so many tips out of the videos. There's so many awesome presenters here. Now, if anyone saw my presentation, it was about my colour story, and I've been using my colour story for many years. Oh, hi, I can see a few of my friends here. Valda, I'm Michelle. Let me just show you what I was doing. All right, so this is what I presented, just in case you haven't seen it yet. Has anyone else got some sort of swatching sort of mechanism that they use? I didn't swatch for years, and once I started swatching, it just made all the difference. And for me, I just need that immediate visual reference. I don't want to go through reams or flick through little. I find trouble with those tabs. I did try that sort of system, but for me, I needed just something that I can quickly have a reference to. So I've been using this book. I stamp out my inks is the main thing that I swatch nowadays. Thank you, Michelle. But yeah, what it really does is help me with matching colours when I'm making a card. So do I have a mobile organizer of colours apart from the book? Well, what I did suggest in my video is actually take a photo. If you've got a smartphone, take a photo of each of the pages. That way, then you can see if there's any, like if you are starting, like if you're someone that knows you need, like I've got, I have the full set of Altenew inks, but the main reason for that is I've been with Altenew as a design team member since 2015. So I have all their inks, but I don't Catherine Fuller, so I just take a photo of that and then I know which ones I don't have. Heidi says, hello, Heidi. I keep looking for the book and the pages I swatched on. I keep losing the book. If you have it all in one spot and you put it back in the same spot every single time, you will definitely be able to find it. Mine sits literally right beside me in my right hand. I can just grab it and go. It never sits anywhere else as well. You need a bigger book. Okay, Pam, what have you got to say? I was just working on my Prismacolor charts you provided. Thank you. Oh, Pam, I hope they're helpful. I found that the Prismacolor downloads weren't, I have actually put tabs on mine here too, so I can go to pencils. So these are the downloads that I created, and if you go to my freebie, you'll be able to download these for free. I've got all the Prismacolor pencil, and they're listed by name and number, so you can just swatch them out as you like. I've also provided, if you don't have Prismacolors, I've also provided blanks, so you can actually swatch out whatever you like. You can actually use these smaller ones for ink, or these ones here, or markers. I actually did exactly that here with my markers. I just wrote my number because I don't have, certain brands. I don't have them all. So Jane has a good question. How long did it take me to finish this book? I probably, the thing that took me the longest was creating the downloads because I'm not the most tech savvy person. I don't know what made me decide to become a YouTuber and make a blog and do all the things, because I was one of the last people to join the computer world. But the actual swatching itself, while my husband was cooking me tea, you get the pencils out and colour, it actually didn't take as long as I thought about it was going to take me. So probably the pencils, just the pencils themselves, it might have been like an hour at the most, I would say. There's 150 colours. It actually didn't take as long as I thought it would. But yeah, I have, I just need that little bit bigger reference because I have things like the Polychromos pencils here. They're a tiny swatch, and it's really hard because when I'm actually, the reason I'm swatching is because I want to match colours that I'm using in a design that I'm making. So this card here I just made recently, it's a pop-up card. And if I'm choosing colours to go with something, I was using markers. I think I used the artist markers for this one. I would literally just hold the design paper that I'm going to use up against other colours in the book because I don't want to have to think too hard. And then I went like, oh, that looks really nice against the blue, and went with that. So often it's just a vibe more than anything and an idea, and then I can get it out, test it, and if I don't like it, I can grab another colour. Heidi, how long have I been paper crafting? I started in 2005. I think I started my blog in 2010 and my YouTube channel a couple of years later. I have over 1,000 videos on my YouTube channel. So if you do want to go and watch some videos, do that, but grab a cuppa. Thank you for addressing the problem that we all have in losing sight as we grow older. I know it's inevitable, and wish more swatch pages from brands took this into consideration. I have multifocals and have had them for years. So for me, just the small ones are too small. I can't work with that. If a company adds more ink colours, do you have to re-swatch to ensure the colours are grouped into colour families? If you watch my video, you'll see what I do. So yes is basically the answer. But I have these downloads now, and you can access them. And I plan on updating my downloads as new colours are added, and I'll try and keep them in rainbow order, which is something that I prefer to use, and that's something. But in the meantime, I actually do swatch my colours out, but I just do it on a scrap of paper. And because this is a Marby book, one of the best things about this book is the pages are zip. So I don't have to, if I've got new colours, I can just move a page and put it somewhere else in the book. And that way, when I'm ready to re-swatch, when I have time and I feel like it, I'm not going to put pressure on myself to do it every time I buy new inks. If there's no place already, I'll just stamp it out and I'll just put a spare page in there and then have it still as a reference. It just won't be in the rainbow order that I prefer. I don't keep swatches of colour blends, but I think that's a really great idea. I saw that Elise has that at her video, and she has the free downloads for that. She does a lot of Copic colouring or alcohol marker colouring, and also pencil colouring, and she's in Brisbane, which is just down the road from me. Kim says, how do you decide which medium to choose? Pencils, inks, watercolour? Sometimes that just is what I feel like colouring on the day. Often it's the image that inspires me, and sometimes it's the colour. I use Memento Tuxedo ink for alcohol marker colouring, and Nocturne or Obsidian ink for the other, like watercolours or ink blending. So I do need to kind of know what I'm going to use, what I'm going to colour with first before I stamp, because if you start adding water to Tuxedo Black, it's just going to melt and you'll have a hot mess. But sometimes it's the image that will decide for me what I'm going to colour. You know how some images look like they're going to look beautiful coloured in watercolours, and some I just feel like colouring that with alcohol markers. And what I've been using my pencils for more lately is actually adding more depth and drama after I've done a base colour with alcohol markers. They mix really well together, and the only thing is that you do need to do your marker colouring first and then add the pencil after. Pam says, what paper do you use with your Prismacolors, and do I use Gamsol? Well, Pam, Gamsol in Australia has been difficult to get, although I have seen it is available now, so I'm probably going to get Gamsol again. I do like Gamsol. I know a lot of people have an issue with it because it has a bit of an odour. I have been using for years is just the odorless mineral spirit, which is a very similar product, or the same from my understanding, and it works very similarly. There are other more natural products that you can use, like Zest It, which is a citrus-based one, and I have tried that. I just didn't have as much success with that, but it does smell really pretty. Jan says, do Altenew inks differ a lot from the Catherine Pooler inks? You don't own any Catherine Pooler. Yes, they are very different in the way that they apply, and basically they are both dye inks, so they do work similarly in that respect. You can use them for all the same things. You can stamp with them, you can layer stamp with them, you can watercolor with them. I just tell people, when it comes to inks, buy the colors that you like, and there is a little bit of a learning curve with both inks, both Catherine Pooler and Altenew inks. Some people struggle a little bit with both because Catherine Pooler, if you're too heavy-handed when you're applying the ink to your stamp, because they're such a soft ink pad, you can over ink and not end up with a nice crisp edge. But once you get used to how hard to tap your stamp, then, and I find it's kind of the opposite with Altenew, because they have such a the thing with Catherine Pooler inks is that because their ink pads are like that, they're the ink pads that I actually do buy my re-inkers for, because they do not dry out, but the ink is used, because of the design of them, you use the ink up more quickly on them, whereas the Altenew inks, I rarely, if ever, have to re-ink. And some of my ink pads, like I said, I've been with them since 2015, and I use them all the time, and I don't have to re-ink. But to apply the ink, I actually will I kind of twist first and then tap and then stamp. And I feel like I'm putting a lot of ink onto the stamp, but it works for me. It is takes a little bit longer to absorb into the paper, but it will actually stamp out evenly. I love them both. They're really good inks. Elaine says, what is your favourite organising tip? Well, this book, the minute I was approached about the summit, I responded straight away and said, like, I already have an idea. I know what I want to share. And I know there are a lot of swatching ideas out there. So you really do need to go with what works for you. But this is a book that, because it's got every sort of colouring medium I have in it, I also swatch out my main sort of embossing powders. I don't refer to this as often, but it's there if I need it. But I just said straight away, like, this is what I want to share with people, because I've had so many people asking me about it, and I just want that quick visual reference. I know exactly what I've got. I know exactly the colour that it's going to stamp or colour. I can, at a glance, work out where my gaps are, like with the inks or markers, and I'm ready to go. I don't have to kind of flick through paper swatches and things. I couldn't do that. I wish I could. I think it would be a great way of doing it. I like the artist way with the magnets too. I thought that even just a pretty picture on the wall. Donna says, what watercolor products do you use when you're just starting out? If you have dye inks, in particular, distress inks, not so much the distress oxides, just the regular distress inks, they watercolor beautifully. If you're not sure that watercoloring is something for you, I would recommend just go straight for your dye inks. All you need to do is smush them onto either onto a plate or a plastic. I use like This is actually a palette. I just smush the ink onto here, pick up some water in a water brush or on just any kind of regular brush and start painting. Give it a go. If you like it, that's when I'd start investing in something that's a little bit, you know, when you're ready, something a little bit more, not expensive, but something that's going to sort of push your boundaries. Because the dye inks, you can mix them and create whatever color you want. But I use the Altenew, what is it? This is the Altenew watercolor half pan set. So this, and what I like about this is these match the inks that I've got. So there's every color you need, and you can match, you know, mix and match and dilute them. One of the things I do suggest to do though is if you are getting watercolors, to swatch them out and leave the swatch with your tin. That's where I refer to it the most, even though I have my book as well. I hope that answered your question. I've looked for a book like yours for years in the US, but can't find any with the removable pages, which I love. If anyone finds one, please yell. These are available on Amazon. I think, I can't remember if I did link it in my supply list for the US version. This is called Marbig folder. This is actually the older version, which has the sleeve in the front. The new version, which I showed on my video, actually has like a solid color on the front. They're usually like a bright color. They're called Color Hide, and they used to be sort of $9 or $10 in Australia each. But like I said, I've had this one for many years, and you can buy refill packets, like 10 in a pack for $2 or $3. But I think it, like last time I checked, it actually gone up to about $15 or $16. But really, you buy it once and you can keep using it. And I use these books for a lot of my other kind of, I don't know, you know, just if I want to keep other references for stuff. So Cindy asks, how do you take pictures of your cards? I have a problem with the lighting. Oh, yes, that's have you got a spare hour or two? we all head there. Like, that is one of the hardest things. You want to share your card, you know how beautiful it looks, and especially when you've got something nice and shiny like you know, embossing or foiling, and then you want to take a photo. It's a nightmare. I like natural light. I use a DSLR camera. I have a Nikon just because we had one years ago and it's got all the lenses. So when I rebought my DSLR, I bought another Nikon, but apparently the Canon ones are very good too. I set it to manual. I use, you know, I kind of just take a lot of photos. I use a whiteboard to reflect light back onto the actual image. And one of the things that I find is that post-editing really can help. If you've taken a good photo, there are a lot of, I think, I use Photoshop, but there are some free programs that you can use where you can just increase the lighting on the actual picture, and that will just help boost it. And it just, there's a lot of really good videos out there. Maybe I should make one and share how I do it. I'll do that. Thanks for that. Linda asks, when you're designing, do you stay with one brand for your whole design? I do if I'm creating for a brand in particular. I do that as much as I can. Obviously, the brands in our industry are very flexible. Like they get along really well. I mean, I don't know if Creativation, they actually create stamp sets together, these brands. They actually really support each other. They want you to choose their product because you like that product and you love using it, and or you love their brand. But with us, you know, I have a lot of different brands, and I buy stuff because I like it and use it. And if I'm just making stuff for me, I'll grab whatever I want to create with and happily mix brands. If I'm creating for Ellen Hudson, obviously that's a bit easier because she's an online store and I can choose lots of different brands when I'm creating for her. Linda asks, when you're designing... Oh, no, that's the same question. I could tell you the answer again. Would you like to hear it? The other... Oh, someone asks... I've seen these a little bit. I was going to say, has anyone started using these yet? How cool. This is one of my new storage things in my craft room. It's not pretty with all my bits in it, but I like it. I used to use like... what I like about it, I don't even know what it's called. I bought it from Amazon, but I know lots of the brands have these now. Okay, I will, Heidi. I will do a photography video. You'll get to see the bedroom where I take the photos in, because that's where I have the most best natural light. And I did try light boxes. Didn't work for me at all. But yeah, these, I don't even know what they're called, but they've got like flexible silicone things. This is only like $12 or something from Amazon, and you can get different colors. So I love storage. I don't like spending a lot of money on it. I'd rather spend my money on stamps and dies and tools. I like tools and trying new techniques and ideas. Yes, that's right. They were originally for holding makeup brushes. I heard that. We actually steal a lot of things from the makeup industry, nail polish holders. And I really like how I store my Copics and alcohol markers, but I can't share it. It's just here, but it is on... I've got a craft room tour. If you go to my blog and up the top there's some tabs, you can link to my craft room tour there, and you'll see there's a picture version and there's also a video version. I updated that last year, so the containers that I store my Copics in there are like a cube with a crisscross, but there's some really good ways of storing markers and pens. Becky asks, in your video you took inks out of your drawer. I thought you're an outie. I am. I'm definitely an outie, but my inks would not fit. I have a desk in the middle of my room, and I have my main inks, like my blacks, embossing inks and everything, straight in front of me here now in a little storage container. But because I don't have any wall space sort of in front of me or around me, the way I got around that was to put an IKEA drawer. It's one of the Alex ones. It's the bigger version has the 3 little drawers and then the 3 bigger drawers. But even though I can just literally, look, and I have them in color codes, and all of a sudden, there you go. And while I'm creating, often I leave my drawers open for the inks. So is that like #hybrid in the Audi? I do have to put some stuff into drawers. It just is easier, but I still forget about it. I usually do my backup storage in drawers. So things that I kind of have ready to go, like my extra adhesives and that. I have trouble issue with adhesives. I keep buying them. Any more questions? We've got a couple of minutes left. I'm the last speaker. You guys must be exhausted. And I don't know, like, has anyone actually started organizing yet, using some of the ideas, or you've just got like a bit of paper and you've been writing them all down? Ready to go. I was actually looking at the Airtable thing, thinking maybe I need to keep a record of my stamps. I used to stamp out my stamps when I was for the design tips, and I keep them in one of these. So I would actually have all my birthday stamps together, all my flower stamps from certain, like, you know, Alton, you have so many flower stamps. And then I'd stamp all the images on the left side, put the label of the stamp, and then stamp all the sentiments on the right side. That way, if I was flicking through just looking for a sentiment, I could flick through my book and I just have to look at the right side because all the sentiments were on that side. That worked for me for years, and then it just got too big. I couldn't keep up, and it was becoming stressful, and I do not want stress. It's not what this is about. I just figured I'll go with it and work it out. And I just literally just flick through my stamp packets again now. I will add the notebook if I can find it. Oh, the link for the notebook. Okay. And that could be because I'm in Australia and we don't really, I can buy from Amazon US now, but we weren't able to for years. So there may be something to do with that. But if you open the link to the Australian one, like I can open the link to, when I open the Australian link here, it will give me American options for sales. I wonder if that might help if you click on my Australian link, but I will update it for sure. You inspired me to organise my swatches. Oh, good. See, Laurie, multitasking. Cup of tea, because it's 5:30 in the morning here. I'm on my second cup of tea. And it's a big one. I needed it. I'm so glad. And don't forget to follow me. I'm at Lost in Paper. You can find me on YouTube. I have a blog. I don't do videos of all of my cards, so you can join my email list, and I'll send out an email every couple of weeks to update you with what I'm up to. I'm also on Pinterest, on YouTube. Where else am I? I missed one. I just said YouTube twice. Oh, Instagram. Hey. I'm so glad you guys joined me here today. I know you must be exhausted. Thank you very much for everything. And I hope you enjoy the party. There's a, well, I think they're having a live final close-up thing now because I think that's at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to head off now. All the very best. Oh, any more questions? Yes, thank you. Yeah, just leave me a message anywhere, Therese at Lost in Paper. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I'll maybe if whoever it is wanted the thing, if you email me, I can send you the US link. No worries. See you at the wrap-up call, everybody. It's not very far away. Thank you. Bye.